Hey everybody, at the Movies with Film. Film Brown here. Really happy to be with you tonight. Always look forward to spending some time with you, trying to bring you some great entertainment. And entertainment with a capital E. Might not be classics all the time, but you know that again we take our stuff and just throw it into a big vat, the good and the bad, and we just stir it around, and what we pull out is what we pull out. And tonight, I think we pulled out kind of a mixed bag. It's a bit of a gem, but it's got a little bit of some Mars in it. But it's an interesting film nonetheless. Nightmare Castle, 1965, directed by Mario Caiano, who worked basically in the Hercules tradition. Made some Assist films. He worked in the spaghetti western tradition as well. This is one of the few horror films that he had a chance to work on. Some people have argued that this film is a love poem to Barbara Steele. Now remember Barbara Steele, sort of the queen of the screams, made her a big splash in Black Sunday, and was in the horrible Dr. Hitchcock. Made a lot of Italian horror films. And she had that kind of face that, depending on how you lit it and upon what angle you take upon it, can be incredibly beautiful or incredibly wicked looking. She plays two roles in this film. She plays the unfaithful wife at the beginning, and she plays the new wife, who happens to be somewhat of a stepsister, looks the same, except the color of their hair is a little different, a lot different. Well, it's a love story with ghosts that we have involved here. And it's a very frightening film in some ways. The story is quite interesting. The idea of crossed lovers, and what happens when you have murdered them, and do they come back to haunt or not, and what happens to those folks who are left behind who were the perpetrators of such a crime. The film also has a very interesting score by Ennio Morricone. And if you know Morricone, who did a lot of the spaghetti westerns, particularly working for Leone, worked for Argento on some things as well, worked with almost everybody, really. One of the things you might notice about using Morricone's music is that when it appears, it has this potential to overwhelm what's on the screen. If you remember Once Upon a Time in the West, sometimes the soundtrack is so operatic that it just sort of takes over. And of course, Leone's work on that also in his cinematography does match and is able to keep up with it. But some lesser filmmakers, like maybe a Caiano, wouldn't be able to keep up with the sweeping magisterial oddness sometimes of the Morricone soundtracks. This one is just that kind of case. There are times when the music kind of pops up and you wonder, geez, where's that coming from? Okay, seems like it's almost too much for the film at times to hold up. There are some other incidental musics in here. One wonders if Morricone wrote that or not, that other music, but the music is very much a prevalent part of this thing. The film, the version that we have, and this is sometimes the problem when you find copies of the material that you're working with, is an Americanized version. And that means that it's a little shorter than the original, by about 25 minutes. I myself would like to see the uncut version of this film, to see what differences. 25 minutes is a lot to lose of a film. Now, we in the United States, or when it was released in this country in '65, saw that shortened version. So that's the version that was prevalent. So there are many versions of this floating around, and it's for us to sort of say, okay, we judge it on what we have. Plus, we also have to imagine what could it also be. And that's something I like to do when I watch a film, is I think not only what is it, but what else could it be? And if I know that something has been missing, that is lost, cannot be retrieved, then I wonder, how much better could it have been? Or worse? There are some films that I can think of that, if you added things to it, would destroy it. I think Mesa of Lost Women is perfectly bad just as it is. Remember that film, Mesa of Lost Women? It's an important film of sort of like the level of badness in there, sort of a template for us to remember. I think you'll enjoy this film. Barbara Steele steals the